We're on our third C now, which is contributing. We started with conversing, that whole idea of having a conversation with God, reading the Bible, praying, reading the Bible with my children, sharing my thoughts out loud about what the Bible says to me, to my kids, and praying with them, those informal and formal prayers that gets this whole conversing step going, this whole conversation with God going. The second step, the second C, was the connecting C, and you can attribute that, you can pair that with community, buying into the fact that spiritual transformation does not happen without community, checking your kid into the zone so that they can start to build relationships with the peers their age that are going to last hopefully up as they continue to graduate, and you buying into the community too, that you need people into your life. This third C is the contributing C, and it is most concretely formed in serving. And that's the step to really take away with serving. And trust me, you want your kid to serve eventually as they continue to grow up. You want them to serve just like any other adult would at Shoal Creek, where that's the drama team, the cleaning team, or serving a younger ministry, serving the children younger than them. You want them to it's that J5, that movement from consumer to producer, to buy in and to act just like any other adult would, because they're such experiential learners. There's so much value in action, because that's exactly what Jesus did. Jesus moved into the community. He started a movement. He gathered people around them, and they didn't just sit around and talk amongst themselves. What they did was they gave back and they helped out the community around them. And the kids that graduate, that stick with their faith, because that's the end goal. What we're wanting to do is we're wanting to produce children. We're wanting to raise our children to have an authentic relationship with God that doesn't just evaporate when the structures around them are no longer there. And that's what happens to a lot of kids is they leave their family units, they go off to college, they go off to the military, they go off and get a job, they leave their family units, and they didn't have enough going inside of themselves. They didn't have the practices going inside of themselves that helped them hang on to their faith. And I've seen this serving step be so huge for families that I've observed as they've grown up, especially this principle of service, attend to service, is that there has been a lot of students and student families, the kids that really get what it means to have a relationship with Jesus have come from families that when a Sunday comes around, they've joined a team so that they serve a service, they give back to the new people coming in, they give back to those that don't have a relationship with Jesus yet. They serve and they attend and they invite and to be a part of it, and they find a role, they find a way to give back. So what that means for you is really, again, buying into this idea that I have to model the spiritual journey. I have to model these 3 C's for my kid, or else they're not going to believe me. You want to model that habit of do as I do, not just what I say. You don't just tell them what to do, you do what you would expect them to do anyways. And since you want them to serve, you want them to have that servant heart inside of themselves as they grow up, it's finding a role here at Shoal Creek, finding a way to give back, finding a team to be a part of. There's not one team at Shoal Creek, not one serve group at Shoal Creek, not one leader that would say, you know what, I'm full, I don't really have a spot for you. So being able to know how to find them, to ask around, to use the city, or just asking on a Sunday, hey, I would really like to give back in some way. There's not any team in this community that doesn't need more help, and everything looks really put together on a Sunday morning. Everything looks really well, but underneath it all of our teams are looking for more people to give back. So finding that spot for yourself, again, I know it's hard because we're busy, but finding a way, finding a passion, finding a skill, using a talent that you have to help the community around you shows your kid that they're not supposed to just be this consumer, this person who just sits and takes in and takes in and takes in, that we have to exercise our hearts, and we have to exercise through using our actions and by giving back. And for the actual Totzone age with these young kids, ways to start that, ways that I've talked to other parents about, what does it actually look like? It's just through acts of service, little acts of service, of taking them with you as you do things for other people. That might be knowing somebody's sick, and making them a dinner. There's families, especially other families in this age group, this Totzone age, people who are having babies. And so making a meal for a family and having your kid help out in whatever way that looks like, and taking them with you, driving over with them, and explaining all this as you're doing it, not just assuming that they get what's happening just because of the activity around them, but taking the time to explain to them, we're going to help out, we're going to give a meal because that's what Jesus would do, and we want to be like Jesus, don't we? It sounds stupid, it sounds silly, but really explaining yourself, explaining your actions, explaining your service in concrete ways that they can know about. It's the random acts of kindness of helping somebody out, taking time out of your day to do something for somebody else and explaining that to them so that they can get to know it. So just to recap a little bit on the contributing step, what you're really hoping for, not just contributing, but conversing and connecting to, all these 3 C's, is you're wanting to help raise your kid in a way and help them to get to know Jesus in such a way that he is real to them, that he means something to them, so that then when they leave your family and go off on their own, and you can't be with them all the time, but God can. And you want them to embrace that journey of, okay, my family's not going to be with me all the time, but God is going to be with me all the time. We do that through conversing with God. We do that with connecting with God. And we do that through contributing with God. And this contributing step is really important to, first, us as parents, find a team to serve on, find a way to give back, so that as my kid gets older, they see that I'm modeling it. They see that they're expected to do the same thing I am, because we want them to do that as an adult. But then to also now, as they're younger, just find the little ways to serve, the little ways to do something nice for people, and then to explain it to them as you're doing it, so that we don't just assume they're getting it, but we're explaining it to them over and over again, so they start to put this picture together of what a well-rounded, whole, authentic spiritual journey looks like.